everyone. Sorry about that. We were having a bit of technical difficulties. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning into the Oakville Chamber's live stream lunch with BDC. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Becky Shaw. I am the Membership Engagement Coordinator. If you are interested in participating in any of our future live stream lunches, please reach out to me. My email address is becky@oakvillechamber.com. So I would like to introduce you to Jim Helmkay, the manager of Halton Business Center for the Business Development Bank of Canada. He is sharing his insights from BDC's last study titled Digitize Now, How to Make the Digital Shift in Your Business. In today's connected, automated, and data-driven world, businesses in every sector need to embrace technologies or risk falling behind. As Canada's only bank devoted exclusively to entrepreneurs, BDC wanted to learn more about the digital maturity of Canadian small and medium-sized businesses and enterprises, and identify ways to help them along the path to greater digital maturity and business success. And Jim, I'm going to leave you to it and enjoy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today as I present the findings of a new study we did to better understand digital maturity of Canadian entrepreneurs. As a part of BDC Small Business Week, we are launching a new BDC study entitled Digitize Now, How to Make the Digital Shift in Your Business. We wanted to see the level of digital maturity of Canadian entrepreneurs. We also wanted to see if they were taking advantage of technology and how they are incorporating it into their businesses. We also created a free tool that Canadian entrepreneurs can use to compare the level of digital maturity of their businesses to that of other firms in their industry. So why did we choose this topic? The pace of technological change is accelerating. Game-changing innovations are now the norm. New technologies are changing the way we do business and have an impact on every sector of the economy. Similar periods of disruptive technological change have occurred only a few times in history. They include the development of steam power, electricity, internal combustion engines, and computers. We are now in the early stages of another such transformation. Digital technologies could be any information and communication technologies used to support or accomplish a business activity, including customer-facing activities such as social media, business websites, mobile apps, online videos, marketing emails, online survey tools. It can also include e-commerce. Are you selling your products online? Are you using any inventory tracking and shipping tools? And then there are back office activities. Here we are looking at the use of management software such as ERP, CRMs, accounting softwares, cloud computing, analytics and use of data, digital dashboards, 3D printing, use of sensors and daily management systems, including the industrial Internet of Things. This is not an exhaustive list of digital technologies. However, this gives you an idea of what we're talking about. These technologies led to fundamental transformation of the economy, involving new inventions and modes of production. The impacts were pervasive and long-term. They will create winners and they will create losers amongst companies. Business owners who are unable to manage the transition and help their business evolve risk falling behind or even becoming obsolete. Entrepreneurs who are ready to invest time and money in digitization will be in an advantageous position moving forward. So we wanted to understand the level of digital maturity of Canadian businesses. Most people hear digital maturity and immediately think technology, but there's more to it. The more entrepreneurs understand what digital maturity really involves, the better they can make decisions to advance their own digital maturity and reap the benefits. Digital maturity measures how advanced a company is in its use of digital technologies. It looks at two things: digital intensity, which is how much technology a company uses in its operation, as well as digital culture, how well equipped a company is to implement change. Does it have a strong strategy and culture, appropriate planning and training? The combination of digital intensity and digital culture determines a company's level of digital maturity. So we did a survey at BDC. We talked to about 2,000 small and mid-sized enterprises across Canada. Our study used an already existing digital maturity model from MIT, and we adapted it to the Canadian small business context. When we analyzed the responses, a few key things really jumped out. Number one, digitally mature companies have higher sales and higher profit growth than their peers. And number two, they are more likely to export and innovate. The reverse is also true. Businesses with low digital maturity perform poorly. Businesses with low digital intensity and less developed digital culture struggle to grow sales. A quarter of companies with low digital maturity have seen sales plummet in the last few years. I'm not going to review all of the findings from our study in detail. However, I would like to touch on a couple of key points. We came up with 4 different profiles of digital maturity for businesses. However, I will only touch on 2 of the most significant types. That is, the conservative type and the advanced type, which accounted collectively for over 70% of the respondents in our study. Conservative companies have low digital intensity and low culture. They make limited use of digital technologies and have trouble managing and driving cultural change. This group accounted for 57% of the companies who responded. Advanced companies have successfully incorporated technology, and they have the culture to promote the use of technology. They use it effectively to run their business and have the culture to drive change. 19% of the respondents were in the advanced category. That's concerning because conservative companies are at the greatest risk of falling behind. Most of the ones we talked to had already seen their sales drop off. At best, their future projections were flat. At worst, they were going to fall even further behind. If any of you are feeling a bit uncomfortable hearing that, that's okay. That's why we're having this conversation. If you think your business is probably in that conservative zone right now, there are things you can do to move out of it, and I'll be sharing some of those ideas with you. Now here's some good news. The second highest scoring category at 19% was advanced, and what those businesses reported is great. Advanced companies were more likely to have high sales growth in the last 3 years. They were more likely to have had high profit growth in the same period. They were more likely to export, and they were 3 times more likely to have developed or introduced an innovation in the last 3 years. When we looked at investment level, we saw that the benefits increased as investment increased as well. For example, businesses that invested $10,000 in technologies saw 4% revenue growth. For companies that invested $50,000 to $75,000, their revenue grew more than 9%. And then we saw revenue increase of close to 16% for businesses that invested between $500,000 and $1 million. So it pays literally to be digitally advanced. Digital maturity across the country is focused mainly in Quebec. We see the highest results at 23%, pardon me. And then again in Ontario at 19%. So across Canada, it's fairly well represented, but we see it concentrated in Quebec and Ontario. The study revealed further that there was a higher number of conservative businesses in the goods producing sector. That is concerning, as those are the areas that we would like to see improvement in. Companies providing business-to-business services and in the tourism sector have the highest level of digital maturity. Half of the respondents in these industries have moved beyond the conservative profile of digital maturity, and 23% of them are digitally advanced. We saw similar trends with companies in retail, wholesale, and logistics. Larger companies, we define large companies as 20 employees or more, have the edge over smaller companies. usually because they need more technology and are better able to manage change and spend more on technology per employee. So there were two key findings that we had in our study. Number one was digital maturity has massive bottom line impact. And number two, not enough small businesses are digitally advanced. So how do you make the digital shift in your business? Well, number one, start small but think big. The goal is not to become the next Airbnb or Uber. Entrepreneurs should look at increasing their digital readiness and digital maturity one step at a time. Most successful businesses start with small projects that can create long-lasting benefits. Ask yourself how technology can create value for your customers. Start small, but think big. Have a long-term vision for where digital technology can take your business is essential. You can't have a vision without knowing what's possible, so you'll have to do a bit of research. Get up to speed on how technology is changing your industry. Then decide what you need to do now to stay competitive 5 or 10 years down the road. The answer will depend partly on what your processes are today. Maybe you have things that are inefficient. You don't want to carry those forward. So you need to know from a process point of view what has to change, and then you can make the action plan. It's a bit of a no-brainer that you will have to invest in technology to make your vision come true. This is why I suggest you don't bite everything off all at once. It's okay, and a good idea actually, to go incrementally. Step 2, establish a culture of change and make technology fun and useful to people. Managing change effectively is one of the biggest obstacles for Canadian companies when it comes to going digital. This speaks to the importance of digital culture. To digitize your business, you need to establish a culture of change in your business. By definition, digital technologies change fast, so you need to build a change team, influential employees at all levels who will champion transformation. You also need to train your people and develop a plan to help them adapt to the new technologies you are going to implement. Then make tech and innovation fun and useful for your people. As long as they see it as an enabler and they are benefiting from it and making their life easier, they will get on board. Step 3. The third step is to adopt an approach of continuous improvement. That means measuring your performance. So that's where your data comes in again. That lets you see opportunities for further change and even evolve your business model over time as your digital maturity evolves your capabilities. It's a cycle. One thing technology does is give you access to an incredible source of information and power, which is data. Data helps you measure, know where you stand, so define your key performance indicators, your KPIs, for each of your business objectives. Define an agile framework for your digital strategy. Test it, measure it, repeat, or adjust and dismiss. Data is very powerful, and technology gives you access to incredible amounts of data. Collecting the data will help you measure and improve what you measure is what you improve. Define the KPIs for each of your business objectives. Define an agile framework for your digital strategy. Test it, measure it, repeat, or adjust it, or dismiss certain ideas. So again, measure, know where you stand. This is the first step of all successful digital strategies. You can't improve what you don't know. BDC has just launched a free digital maturity assessment tool you can use to compare your business to other Canadian firms in your industry and identify opportunities for improvement. It's free, simple to use, it takes about 4 minutes to complete, and it's available on our website at bdc.ca. The tool uses the same framework as our Digitize Now study to determine at what level of digital maturity you are in.